Opening week in the NFL right around the corner. We're, several days away at this point. Anthony and Alex talk stuff back again. We got to a little bit of an NFL preview after the draft happened. We kind of talked about how the draft would reshape some things and, where we would be NFL-wise. So we did that back in April, episode 1, I believe. Got into some pretty intense debates, / arguments, / hateful statements made by the two of us. So we're kind of back again, recircling. Alex, you feel the same in terms of who's going to shake out as your division winners, or who you think, kind of the movers and the shakers are in terms of the season, now that we're kind of, finished with the preseason, seeing some injuries, see some shakeout, you still feel solid and resolute in your thoughts?
Well, I'm glad we get to kind of revisit it because we did that right on the heels of the draft. And so we didn't know how even the rest of the back end of free agency correct. We had all of preseason to look at, even though preseason sucks and shouldn't exist.
I love it.
But said no one. But yeah, yeah, exactly. But let's go into it. Let's try to break down. Let's just try to break it down by divisions and see where we see any differences now that we've seen a little bit more.
All right, let's start with the let's start with the division with the we'll start with the divisions with the two biggest moves, I guess, so far recently. Jerick McKinnon goes down, torn ACL. Niners invested a lot of money in him. He seemed to be a pretty good piece in Kyle Shanahan's system. I know you were into Niners. I think a lot of people are kind of on the Niners, so winning this division or being some kind of wild card or dark horse, but / being everybody's dark horse. So everybody's
definitely being relevant. I mean, McKinnon was one of those guys that everyone kind of thought about in fantasy terms.
So glad I didn't take him with the double at the end of my first round of my keeper league. Oh my god.
Yes, that looks a lot better now.
My god.
That's why I always preach: do not draft. Wait to draft as long as you can.
But hey, you got to plan for. You got to, I stayed away from him because of the thought that I was like, well, he may be an injury risk, and it worked out for me. You got to have some forethought sometimes. But are you still sticking? Are you off the Niners winning that division? Or are you still on them? I don't think their defense is good enough. Well, go ahead.
I mean, I'm just. I might be backpedaling a little bit, but only because I'm 50-50 now. I just don't feel as strong about the Rams as everybody else does. I mentioned in episode 1, I do not like the dream team. My thoughts might be, scarred by that when Vince Young said the Eagles had a dream team when they got Osmoa and they got all those guys, and they just completely crapped the bed.
I'm always wary of teams that don't play their starters at all in the preseason. Because then I'm you're either going to be really great or you're going to be terrible. There's
just too many, I think, question marks for me, because you brought in a lot of awesome guys, which is great. And obviously some guys left. I just think that leads to a little bit of, chemistry issues. What's going to go on? Okay. Obviously you solved the Aaron Donald thing, which is great. Now he's happy though. Does that change how he plays at all? We'll never know, we won't know until it happens, because usually when guys eat a little bit, we'll see. I just think all the new pieces, it's going to take time for them to kind of gel together, combined with I'm not a strong advocate of Goff, combined with I think
you hate him.
Correct, I do not think he's good, but I'm also okay, now all these coaches, not to say that they're, going to solve it or anything, but at least you've had a full year to kind of break down what McVay's doing and his schemes. He's also lost his offense coordinator, but I don't think I don't really think that matters, because I think
he's the guy.
He's the guy, even though his offense coordinator, I believe, went to the Titans.
Yeah, he's he's in the Andy Reid, Mike McCarthy scenario where
correct.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Correct, but now that you've had more time to kind of, evaluate the young hotshot head coach, now you can scheme a little bit better. Also, I'm throwing a lot of caveats. Also, not totally sure that Gurley's going to play 16 games,
because of injury?
Yes. I just feel I think he may be injury prone. Also just got paid. So
he broke the fucking bank.
yeah, so there's a lot of things there where people are like, oh, sweet, 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 sweet. Like this is happening, this is happening. Oh, these guys getting paid. First of all, also, I want to mention, how are they doing this? I don't understand.
We've every time we've talked about the Rams,
I
both
do
in the show
not
and in life, you're
get
always
it
just like, where's the money?
I mean, I get it. The cap's going up. They shredded Ogletree's contract. He was making like 11 mil a year.
True.
But it's like, okay, Sue got what, like 16. Now you put Donald. I know Donald actually doesn't have a large cap figure. His cap figure is like 3 or 4 million this year because they've like backloaded it.
But they paid Cooks.
But you paid Cooks.
Paid Gurley.
You paid Gurley.
Franchise tag LaMarcus Joyner. Traded for Aqib Talib. Traded for Marcus Peters.
Correct, on good contracts, but still, they're like some
Expensive.
contracts. You shredded. I guess you got rid of Watkins. I'm sure he was eating up some cap, but it just doesn't it seem not right? Like just
I
the
kept
way
thinking that with
your
like,
NFL brain like works. Doesn't it seem like, hey, how do they have enough money for all this going on right now? Or do they have enough money to like pay everybody going forward? Like how are they going to pay Golf?
Well,
if they really like
by that time, Sue will be gone. Talib will be gone. They won't have that money. Like they're probably. I mean, who are their lockup cornerstone? I almost said cornerstone. Their cornerstone people going forward are what? Donald, Marcus Peters, Gurley, and Goff. So they have to give Marcus Peters a new contract next year.
I don't think they keep Marcus Peters.
So who are their corners going to be? Because then they're not going to keep Talib. He's too old. He's like 34, 33.
Yeah, I don't know. No, actually, I thought Marcus Peters is actually on a good 2-year deal. So they actually have him for another. It's not this season. It's next season.
Okay, but still, they're gonna have to. By the time they have to pay, like.
Also, Joyner's gonna leave. I mean, if they.
Yeah, most likely. But by the time Goff has to be paid, the Sue money will be off. The Talib money will be off. So.
Okay, if that's how they're doing it, and
they're
pay
Goff.
It just seems like a lot. I know with the rising cap.
Plus, what's he going to command? He's not going to get. Is Jared Goff's contract that he gets in like another? He's been in the league 2 years, so in 3 years from now, the contract that Goff gets, is he getting the contract that makes him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? No, right?
No. But I mean, you're going from a figure. I don't know what it's at now. It's probably like whatever 800,000. I don't even know. It could be lower than that. It's they're really low. Yeah. But I mean, he's going to command at least the same as like Blake, if not more. So we're talking.
You can do that easily.
You could just write. Okay, so he goes from $800,000 to $18 million, just like, and you're just like that doesn't affect your football team.
No, it does. It 100% does. But that's still enough. You can give Goff that and still maintain Donald, Peters, Gurley, and have some pretty good B to B plus players getting paid around that.
I think they're going to be a stars and scrubs kind of team in like 3 years. Like it's going to be pretty rough for them.
So they're coming out of. So you got them.
Also, how are they going to end up paying anybody on like offensive line wise? There's just like other areas they're not like paying attention.
Well, they're going to have to draft that because they got Whitworth. He's going to retire in a couple years. Like they're going to have to shell some money out for that spot. Well, not money, but draft picks most likely. So you don't have them. In them going. So we think they might be fucked in the future. Are they fucked now?
I just don't think they're going to be this 13-3 team that everybody thinks they're going to be.
They're getting a wild card though.
Yes, they're definitely going to get the wild card.
10-6.
I could see them being 10-6, 11-5.
So that means the Niners are going 12-4.
I told you I backed off of it a little bit. I just think they're both.
So you backed off from 15-1 to 12-4 for the Niners.
You know.
You're right.
The McKinnon thing does hurt them. Definitely.
Yeah. I actually think Matt Breida, the backup.
I really liked him. I always wanted him. Like when they were talking about like Vikings back in the day when it was like Murray and McKinnon or whatever. Yeah. Like I always liked him. Like scat back, get around. Like would have been pretty good in that offense. Kyle Shanahan is like an offensive kind of guru. Love this. Nobody is talking about 49. We talked about this in the fantasy football episode. Mm-hmm. Nobody's talking about their weapons at all.
No, not at all. They're very under the radar. Garcon is not a bad receiver. Marquise Goodwin, if he stays healthy, is sweet.
Goodwin could be like a killer on this team,
And what's his face that they drafted? Pettis from Washington is one of the best route runners in college football, and was one of the best route runners in college football.
The tight end too.
Yeah, Greg Kittle. They got some movers, and Matt Breida is actually a pretty
He's
cool
solid.
3-down back. Morris is really good in that system, so they could be decent. So you got to call it right now. Now, who wins that division, NFC West? Niners, Rams.
Rams.
Oh, you switched.
I did.
Okay, so do the Niners get a wild card?
I think it's kind of like a 10-6, 9-7 situation, or like 11-5, 10-6 situation.
Do the Niners get a wild card?
Oh yeah. I think the Niners.
Oh yeah. Okay, solid.
I do. Like,
okay.
Think of their team last year. I can't even name like 10 people on that team last year. And the mind state, I guess just the mind frame they were in, and just the kind of awful football they were playing. And then this guy comes over and you just take those sloppy parts and win 5 games. I don't even know how they did it really.
That's true.
Like, so now full year integrated of Jimmy G, worked with the parts better. Still, obviously, you still have Shanahan. I just think this is kind of, it possibly could be this new, like, hyperbole. But I think it could be this new, like, Walsh, like,
Wowzers.
Steve Young, whatever. I know Walsh is more Montana, but it could be this, like, new era for them, like, where these two guys are the guys. Like you always have the Belichick Brady. We were the two guys really, like, click and come together, and like they rule the roost, basically. I think this could be the start of that for them, and then they just have to, and they've already paid them, and it's like now you just have to fill it out.
I am sticking with my Rams prediction, winning the division. I am not calling the Niners in a wild card. I think they finish with a somewhat positive record. I think they go anywhere from 8-8 to potentially 10-6. I am not calling them a playoff team. Next year, I think I will, but I'm sticking with my initial of, Rams are winning this division and continue their, like, 2 to 3 year window of trying to get a ring before everything falls apart, like we've kind of thought out.
I think the 49ers are going to be that team where you're like, I don't want to face them.
Yeah, I can see that, to be honest. But I don't think they're getting one this year. All right, going to the next division. So we mentioned the lead-in, kind of the two most recent developments recently, like roster-wise. One, McKinnon going down. Second would be Khalil Mack going to the Bears. So let's go to the NFC North. I don't think the Mack move changes much.
Does nothing for me.
No.
Does nothing.
I don't take... it makes me nervous a little bit for week 1 because I have Aaron Rodgers, and I'm like, oh, crap, is he going to get some pressure off the edge? But I'm like, no. I actually think the Bears are going to be pretty good in a couple years. Like Mack and Roquan, and if Trubisky pans out with Burton and Robinson and Howard and Cohen, like, they got some pieces.
I love this Mack Roquan Smith. We talked about this. I think Roquan Smith could have been the number 1 pick in the draft. I think he has he's everything, but this holdout situation and what the Bears were doing to him, not having him in camp really hurt him. And then obviously, and then now he has the hamstring because he wasn't in camp or whatever. However that went down. I just think that stunted some things here, and that's not great. Obviously, I think he can catch up very quickly, and having somebody like Mack next to him.
We're kind of biased because we love Roquan Smith.
I do very much so, yes. But it's like that is a fearful combination.
Oh, yeah, Roquan and Mack. I love the shit out of Roquan.
What is not fearful to me is Mitchell Trubisky. I just do not get why people are really on this train. I don't know. They have very high upsides because they like the parts.
Yes, and everybody loves to do that second-year jump thing. Everybody wants to be like, oh, he's going to be this year's like Wentz or Goff, and the Bears are like a cool team that could do some stuff, but they're like, everybody loves to try and identify that young team that like isn't there right now, but like everybody wants to call the next Blackhawks team when they're young. When everybody was like, oh, they got something clicking when Kane and Taves were young. Everybody wants to call the next Astros
they want to be ahead of the curve.
Yes, everybody wants to do. What was it in 2014 or whatever that article came out for Sports Illustrated? And it was like, oh, you're 2017 World Series champion Houston Astros. They did the 3-year prediction, their however long prediction, and they called it. People want to call that and get on the train and get that sexy pick. And I think Mack helps them. I think their defense is actually underrated and is pretty decent, if not like pretty above average. But as far as like this year comes, I don't think they're touching Green Bay. I don't. They're definitely not touching Minnesota. I'm probably gonna say Minnesota wins the. I'm toss up territory with. I think this year, knock on wood, could be for Aaron Rodgers like a MVP year. Throws for like 40 touchdowns and like 6 interceptions, and throws for almost 5,000 yards, and just like guts the league everywhere. But that's still tough to do. I think their defense is revamped and a lot better, but I don't know. Minnesota's, they got good coaching. They have a good line offensively and defensively. Their secondary is beast. They have a good receiving core. Even if Dalvin Cook, I don't want to wish any injury upon anyone, but even if Dalvin Cook gets hurt again, like Latavius Murray is more than capable. Kirk Cousins is more than capable. Yeah, I'm going to say Minnesota wins the division.
I mean, I'm going to go to Minnesota as well. My thing is, it seems great, but like, I just think the Bears gave up too much.
The Bears gave up.
I mean, that is a lot. Did they have to give up the other second rounder? Did they have to give up that second rounder too?
Do you know who the four teams were who gave very strong offers for Khalil Mack?
Imagining it was the Packers, Jets, Bears, and I'm not sure the fourth.
Packers, Bears, Browns.
Oh, Browns and Jets.
Bills.
No, we put in a significant offer.
Yes, but I guess though, like the main 4 that they knocked it down to were Bears, Browns, Packers, Bills. I'm definitely,
but like you just put your hands up in the air when somebody's like, "I'll give you 2 first." It's like, dude,
I was thinking
really?
I was already thinking in the offseason, I was like, hey, we might be able to make a run at Mack. He went to college in Buffalo, but how much do we pay him? And I was already like nervous with having to give him that much money. Although I think it depends on where you are. I don't think we are that team that's like one Khalil Mack away from winning the chip. Like then
neither are the Bears.
No, neither are the Bears. So, like, if he would have gone to Green Bay, I would have been like, oh shit. But not that he's not a very impactful player. I would still probably pay him, but to not only have to pay him and give up what they gave up, 2 firsts is a very steep price. In addition to everything else that they gave up, I'm not even, I mean, granted, everything else that they gave up in total, but the tough. 2 firsts makes me want to throw up. And I don't know if that's because you and I love the draft so much, but like, dude, 2 like first.
And and I've always been an advocate for, well, those are picks and this is a player and I know what this player can do. Like, I've always been like on the player side, but as I've kind of like gotten older and gone along, I realize like it's not necessarily, okay, yes, you have a superstar, but it's like, okay, a first rounder is probably a starter and at the cap number. It's really about the money. It's like, okay, I have these 2 guys who could be starters on my team at this low rate for 5 years, and I could fill out, and with that additional money, I could fill out the rest of my team rather than just having this one guy who obviously fills a big role and is a great player, but for how many more years? And I'm talking about 2 players being a starter for potentially 5 years. I mean, whatever, it's hit or miss, I'm sure, in the 5th round. In the first round, but that is it is a steep price to pay, just money wise and age wise, over the course of just like time. There's definitely a long term, just a long term hit there by doing this.
Would you give Khalil Mack that contract no matter who you are, or would you only give it to him if you're a certain team?
I mean, I give him that contract if I didn't have to then give up all that. I agree. That contract and the amount of capital they gave up on top of that is really just staggering. I mean, it's a great player, but I just think in 3 years' time, we're going to be like, whoa, like they got like fleeced.
Yeah, that was, and honestly, if the Raiders do things correctly, they can use this as they're moving to Vegas. They could use this as like we could be potentially having the Raiders in like, maybe 3 years, 4 years, something like being like the Vegas thing in name alone is going to draw a lot of like power and interest everywhere. And then with the talent they have already, combined with the youth, I mean, they have like, I think they have the oldest roster in the league, so they
In
need
theory,
youth.
well, I mean, Gruden wants the oldest roster in the
That's
in the
true. He
league,
loves it.
but you think about
Raiders
that.
gonna Raider.
If the correct, if the Bears don't turn into that team, say they're a middling team or whatever, so
Oh
it's
my
a
God,
top,
the Raiders
it's
are
a
gonna
top 15-ish pick, and then the Raiders are not going to be good. I personally think they have a chance along with the Bucks,
Dude, this draft
being
is
like the worst.
This upcoming draft is so stacked. Like you and I have been talking about it offline so much. What if the Raiders have 2 top 10 picks in this year's draft? Oh my God, what if they got friggin' one of the defensive linemen from Clemson and also Ed Oliver? Oh my God, they could remake. Or if they got Devin White, the linebacker from LSU, and Ed Oliver, oh my God, they could rework. Or they could take one of the good. Oh, they could. There's a lot of talent, especially defensively, in this upcoming draft. If they had, oh boy, 2 top 10s,
I know that's the thing.
Top 15s. Holy
say
crap.
they end up with 2 top 15s or whatever, and I just think even if they package that to move up, let's say, or do something crazy, or package whatever, the 3rd pick, a 2nd pick, whatever, they use that to move up. You're still, say, taking a player who's granted an unknown, but say
True.
they wanted to go up and get Ed Oliver. Now you got a guy who you think could be the next coming, and that's definitely risky. But you have him on a 5-year contract. If he's awesome, if he's some.
What's hard to sell that fan base on and the players on is that it's oh well, next year we could draft Ed Oliver, and then but if I'm a Raiders fan, I kind of also would be well, yeah, but aren't we just I granted he's a defensive tackle and Max an outside linebacker or DN, but if I'm a pessimistic or angered Raiders fan, I would be sweet, so you're going to draft Ed Oliver, and aren't you just hoping that he turns into Khalil Mack? We just had Khalil Mack, and we just got rid of him. Aren't you hoping the guy that you draft is as good as the guy you just gave up?
Yes, but the thing about that is
the cap control with it.
The cap control. So even if he's 75% of Mack, I'd probably still want the contract.
They could come away with some really good shit, and
yeah, now they have a lot of draft capital, so they can kind of do what they want. Do I trust Gruden to actually make the right moves? I'm not sure.
And I don't know how that helps the Bears. Now, I mean, I know how it helps the Bears, obviously, but you've got the Vikings are a juggernaut in all phases, like we mentioned, offensively, defensively, coaching. They are very good in very important areas of football that you need to be good at. The Packers actually have a good team now, and even if they didn't, they have Aaron Rodgers, which is kind of almost enough. Aaron Jones is underrated, and their secondary got better, and their
secondary got a lot better. I think people are gonna sleep on them a little bit, but
are gonna be a problem. Yes. I just don't get so you get Mack if you're the Bears, but you give up your draft capital. I know you have some free agent money that you can use in the coming years.
Yeah, that's the new thing, really, is you get this young quarterback in the draft, like a Mahomes, a Trubisky, even down the road, like a Darnold, Rosen, they
Josh
coming
Allen.
in now. Yeah, Josh Allen. And now you save so much money at such a key position that you can just allocate it to the rest of the team, and you almost have to go all in free agency. I believe the Bears are trying to do, I guess. You go all in a free agency to build around this short window where you have the young quarterback on the rookie contract, that little 4 or 5 year window, and you just throw everything against the wall at it. And really, the Seahawks kind of started that with the controlled Russell Wilson contract, and now it's just even more kind of blown up just because the cap is getting a little bit bigger, so it's easier just to throw everything. I mean, you see with Goff and the Rams, for example, they're just throwing everything at it.
You got to capitalize on that window.
I guess that's what they're doing. They don't care about draft or draft capital because they have a bunch of free agency money, and they're just going to be hey, we're just going to win in free agency.
But that's my question. If you're the Bears and you're going for that next year or in the next coming years, whatever, you're still going to have to do a lot to not only win the Super Bowl, which is the goal, but you have to do a lot just to overcome the teams in your division. They're going to have to do a lot to leapfrog Minnesota. They're going to have to do a lot to leapfrog Green Bay.
Their window is just it's just poor timing. It's not anything they did necessarily.
Yes, it's poor timing. I don't think they're
I just think it's poor timing because you have 2 really strong teams in the same division as you.
Yes.
and it's just going to be difficult for them
Let
to
alone the
really
rest
make
of
the
the
leap.
NFC. Like Atlanta's still there, the Rams are still there, the Eagles are still there. Like who knows if Saquon and Odell don't take off together, and the Giants are like some kind of power. Who knows if and we haven't even gotten to the NFC South yet, which overall is a juggernaut. Like I just think that's a lot to give up for and I love Khalil Mack. I think he's awesome. I would pay him, but I just
I don't
see
really
the
think
move
I
for
do
the
that trade for
Bears.
anybody.
No, I wouldn't either. And I don't see the thing it gives you. Again, you're not
Aaron Rodgers, I guess.
Oh wait, yeah, I would do that. It doesn't give you. I just feel like again, if it was certain teams like. And granted, like a lot of these aren't possible. Like if the Packers had made this move, or the Steelers made this move, or the Falcons made this move. Like,
well, the Packers were trying to make a move,
True,
like sort of like this.
You know what? I'm surprised that they couldn't get it done because they have that extra first that the Saints gave them for Marcus
Correct.
Davenport.
Correct.
So, yeah, like it's not like they were one team away. I feel like Khalil Mack should have gone to somebody like when Reggie White went to the Packers. Not to keep talking about the Packers, but
okay.
It was like, oh crap, there they go. And so, just to kind of like reel it back, I don't. Yeah, I think the Bears finished third in this division.
Right, you like the Vikings, right?
Yeah, I'm going Vikings. I'm going Packers, and I think it's sweet that Mac is a Bear, and I think the Monsters of the Midway thing is back, and it's cool. But I don't see how this really put them over the edge or the moon in terms of it's good buzz and press now, but in the long term and even short term, I don't really see what
maybe long term booking.
Oh, hey-o. I mean, we did mention that they were going all in.
The Vikings are not going to be – I don't think they're going to be as good as people think just because I think losing Shermer is actually like going to be a hit to them. But their defense is crazy solid, and I just think Cousins almost has to like game manage, and they can almost be pretty vanilla and do really well. Like I think they could just like run out the clock kind of situations.
They have depth at a lot of positions. Yeah, Kirk Cousins is in that spot where like –
he doesn't have to live up to that contract necessarily.
He can just play.
He just has to be like Alex Smith.
Yeah, which I think he can definitely do. And they have good like Kyle Rudolph, Thielen, and Diggs. In the preseason, it looks like Laquan Treadwell all of a sudden realized how to play football again, so they might have like a pretty solid third receiver. They have two. I mean, Dalvin Cook is sweet. Latavius Murray showed that he can carry the load if need be, or definitely be at worst like a serviceable running back. The D is sweet. Yeah, I take them. I don't want to doubt Aaron Rodgers, especially a motivated Aaron Rodgers, but I'm taking Minnesota.
We've been on the North too long.
I mean, hey.
No, I know. You can never doubt Rodgers.
All right, let's go to the South where your crush team lies based on fantasy likings and things. Let's go to the NFC South.
Oh, like in the history of drafting?
Yeah, your history of drafting, a.k.a. Drew Brees, a.k.a. Marcus Colston. It
just so happens that Brady and Brees have been in the NFL the majority, if not the entire time I've been playing fantasy. I mean, like they both been in the league like 20 years. So it's like, it's wild.
With that being said, and your clear and unadulterated love for Drew Brees being stated, are the Saints winning that division?
Yes, because I think they.
Oh, hands down, yes.
Yeah, because I think they could have won the Super Bowl last year. I think I want to see that game. I don't know. I want to see the Eagles Saints, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Instead of how that Vikings game went down.
I think the Saints are my Super Bowl pick from the NFC.
Whoa.
Yep. I'm big into them.
By getting Teddy, they've only made themselves stronger.
Their offense is so good, and their coaching offensively is so good, and the only thing that's held them back from having more championships or more of an impact these last
defense?
Yes, they've always had. Not only have they not had a defense, they've had a god awful garbage defense, and
the only time they actually won is because they had like a crazy year of
Takeaways. They had takeaways with that
turnovers.
Yes.
It was like wild, the amount of like
and they that crazy. The Brett Favre throws that pick. Peyton Manning gets picked for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. But now they have legitimate talent and coaching on the defensive side, and they don't even need to be good on defense. They just need to be like serviceable or average or slightly above average. And I think they're definitely above average. At worst, they're serviceable. So I think they're solid on D, considering what that offense has. Breeze, Kamara, Ingram when he comes back, the line that they have, the receiving weapons that they have. I think Cameron Meredith might have a really good year and will work well with Breeze. I think he'll have a good year NFL wise. I don't think he's going to have a great year like fantasy wise. Michael Thomas is a beast. Yeah, I think they're sweet.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where it's like Breeze doesn't have to win every game now.
No, they can rely on, and Kamara's
and that's
sick.
Great because I mean he's propped them up for so long.
Yeah, he deserves a break.
That now like they have different options, and they even have like Teddy.
Here's where it gets really murky. Who comes out? So last year, Carolina and Atlanta both secured wild cards. So we had 3 teams that came from the South in the playoffs. Who comes in second in this division?
I think the second place team in this division, and I'll add that I don't think anybody but the Saints will come out of this division.
Oh, so the South doesn't get a wild card?
No, because I thought the Packers and the 49ers would get the wild cards.
Okay, copy that.
So I do not believe that the Panthers or Falcons will get the second spot or first part. I think the Falcons are going to place second, though. I still don't have faith. They are obviously, I mean, they're not far removed from a Super Bowl that they should have won.
Correct.
And
now you want to, after you chastised me a couple episodes ago about my whole the Falcons choked that away. They should have. They had it won. The Patriots shouldn't have won it. Now you want to say that they should have won?
I didn't chastise you. They should have won.
You didn't. Yeah, but you didn't agree with me then.
I think they'll be better because offensively, obviously that's a huge switch going from a very good coordinator to a not very good offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think they had that year to adjust. And
so
ironically,
at least they'll adjust.
Yes.
But I do not believe in Sarkisian at all. So I don't think they're going to have – I just don't think they have the horses.
I am picking Atlanta.
Let's see the scheme. I don't think they have the scheme. I think they have the horses. They don't have the scheme.
I think Atlanta finishes second and grabs the second wild card.
And you think the Packers get the first wild card?
Yes.
Okay.
I either think we'll get to the NFC East last. Actually, I don't even. The NFC East.
You have to talk about the NFC East.
NFC East. I think the wild card. There's only 3 realistic teams for the wild card. I think it's the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Packers. I think the Packers are definitely getting one. And then, if you told me that the Packers didn't and Carolina and Atlanta both got them, I'd be more surprised than if Green Bay got at least one. But I see Green Bay getting one and then the other one going to Carolina or Atlanta. Now, I could flip on Carolina and Atlanta. I'm really torn on it. But I just don't think Carolina has... I don't believe in Cam all the time as a thrower. I'm always kind of a little worried that he's going to do something to hurt himself.
I'm out on them. I do not see it.
I don't think they have a secondary, and I don't. I think Atlanta. I think Atlanta comes.
I can't do in Cam we trust. I really can't.
I more trust in Luke Kuechly and Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, Christian McCaffrey? Oh my lord! I don't trust. I just don't like that team.
He led me to a fantasy championship last year.
I just don't like that team as it's currently constructed. The defense is now not as good as it was when they went to the Super Bowl. Cam, I think, just had obviously an MVP year. I just think kind of all the stars have to align for those kind of things to happen because he can get on a roll, obviously, and he's a crazy fantasy threat when he does because of the dual action. He's like a beast.
Yeah.
But he really has never from I don't think he's really ever had the weapons. And I don't know if it's scheme wise, I don't know if it's cam wise. And Greg Olson obviously has been a steady
Yeah, Greg
guy.
Olson and Steve Smith at the same time.
Yeah, but now it's been like who's the rotating receivers? I just don't see it.
Funchess, DJ
I
Moore,
don't see
Curtis
Funchess.
Samuel.
You're talking about a okay, he was a tight end in college. He was okay.
I'm not buying it either. And especially with Cam's like, yeah,
You
but
can't
don't
tell me he's your number one receiver. I just don't see that.
But those guys work with Cam. Like, you need big dudes with a wide catch radius because Cam isn't putting it on a button all the time. He's kind of gunning it, but putting it in a vicinity. And you have to be a Kelvin Benjamin or a Funchess or an Olsen who are long, rangy, bigger bodied.
Can I just get a good receiver?
Maybe it's tough to find that.
Does
I think
it matter?
DJ Moore's a good receiver, the guy they drafted from Maryland.
And you know what? I've heard whatever. If it's preseason, but I've heard yes, okay. DJ Moore might be finally the guy, but I just feel like it's one of those things where it's like, is this going to be the guy? Is this going to be the guy? And we'll be talking about this like
and
3
if
or
you
5
have to
years
ask
from
that,
now.
then you don't have any guys. Well, I could see that also. So I could see Carolina somehow pulling it together because I think they have good coaching and they have a good resolve and they have a good pedigree from the last couple of years. So I'm not going to count them out. But I think Atlanta gets that second spot in the South. I think they get a wild card. I don't really want to talk about the NFC East. Can we just say Eagles and then be on to the AFC?
No.
Ugh.
So okay, so
Eagles.
you just want to do
Germany.
Okay. Hey man, yeah, what happened in Germany?
That's
I'm not
I'm a little scared.
Super high in this Eagles team.
So who else can win that division? The Cowboys' strength was their line. Their line is banged up. And the greatest receiver in the NFL, Des Bryant, is no longer on their team. Washington, maybe squeaks out some stuff. Then the Giants,
I actually think this might end up being a competitive division
from a negative standpoint, like
only
they're all like 9 and 7.
Sort of middling.
Yeah.
But I think the Redskins are better than what people think because I like Alex Smith and what he can do kind of with those weapons. I just like that team as it's constructed. Don't like their head coach, but like the team as it's constructed. The Giants,
Who's winning this division? Who's winning this division?
The Giants aren't far removed from going to the playoffs.
There's so many question marks. So, like, is Eli done? Is Eli okay? Is their defense terrible? Is it all right?
I thought it was the coaching. To be honest, I generally think it was. I just don't think he had to control that team. It's like you sit Eli Manning, like you don't know. Like you just ride it out. Like they didn't know what they were doing. The defense. There was a lot of injuries, obviously, and the defense wasn't performing as well as it did the year before. But I feel like this could be a bounce back year for that entire squad.
I don't think they're as bad as they were last year, like second worst record in the NFL. But I also don't think they're as good as they were the year before. The year before, they had a lot of right moment at the right time things. They put a lot of games out of their asses. I don't think they were as good as I don't think they're as good as their record was that got them to the playoffs the year before. I don't think they're as bad as their record showed last year. I think they're a middling 5-11 to 7-9 team, regardless kind of what happens. Now, maybe Odell pulls some crazy shit. Maybe Evan Ingram pulls some crazy shit. Maybe Saquon is the truth beyond truth, and that's all that matters. But
I think the way the script lays out right now, I could totally see the Eagles coming out to like a bad start. Just because they're on a high, but they don't have their starting quarterback just yet. I don't know when he's going to come back.
Alshon Jeffrey's hurt.
Alshon Jeffrey's on the PUP list for like 6 weeks or whatever.
No, didn't they? They didn't put him on it.
Oh, they didn't put him on. Okay.
But he's still going to miss like the first 2. Yeah, he's going to miss like the first 2 weeks as of now.
You put Foles in there now as starting, but obviously he got dinged up. So
He's got rings.
Sure, but like, I don't know. They're just high in the horse. I could see them being like, oh, we start out, I could see them starting out like 3-3, to be honest, something like that.
But they're still going to win the division.
I still think they win the division, but I don't think it's some clear runaway in this division. I really think this division could be. It's something that like maybe 10-6 wins this division.
I also think the Redskins are better than people think. I also
think
like
they're
Alex
good.
Smith. I think a sneaky good connection this year in fantasy football and in real NFL. I think Alex Smith to Jamison Crowder could be beast. And if the Redskins stay healthy defensively, I could see them being anywhere from 7-9 and 9-7. I could see them potentially being come week 13, if the Redskins win their remaining games, they win the division. Or if they go 3-1, I also could see everybody kind of lumped together here just because I think the Eagles come out no matter what.
Right. So despite all that we've just said, it doesn't really matter because we're both going to say the Eagles.
Yeah, but I just think it's either just until Wentz comes. I think if Wentz is fine, I think the Eagles run away with it. If he's not, I think that it's a little closer, and then maybe they're around 10-6.
Yeah, man. I understand it was his rookie season. He had a very good season. MVP probably would have been the MVP if he just stayed healthy. But
yeah, this is his third year in the league now, but he's coming off a major injury, and
who's to say he repeats that? I mean,
exactly,
coming off a major injury, more time for teams to scheme against you. Who's to say he doesn't have a little slump? I can't just write it in that the Eagles are just gonna go 13-3 and be right back.
All right, so let's stay then in the NFC. So we got our playoff teams, we got our wild cards. Give me the NFC Championship game and who comes out of the NFC for the Super Bowl.
Oh, I'm not ready to give that yet.
You gotta give it.
I don't have to.
You gotta give it. This is the NFL season preview.
Oh my Lord. Okay.
Gotta let the people know. Everybody's been blowing us up. Emails, social media, smoke signals, plane messages in the sky, banners. Anthony, Alex, what do you think about the season? Who are your Super Bowl picks, playoff picks? People are clamoring for it.
Packers, Saints.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Packers are getting the wild card, but then are getting hot and are going to the NFC Championship?
Yes, because they're the team. Yeah, because who wants to play in Lambeau, even if they're on the road? They're a team where Rodgers can just will them. And
you actually took my. I think if the Packers win the division, I think the two hardest places that are going to win in the playoffs in the NFC are going to be in New Orleans because New Orleans is a very different team indoors than they are outdoors. And then Lambeau for obvious reasons. I think it's either Saints Vikings NFC Championship or Saints Packers NFC Championship.
Isn't everyone saying that though? It's not really spicy.
Yeah, so then based on what
everyone's saying,
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it's spicy.
Either that or people have Rams in the mix.
True. I'm not saying it's spicy at all. I'm just saying that's what I think. I'm not doing a fucking hot take here. That's just what I think.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And then I'm calling Saints.
Based on the information I have, I got to say Saints because I just like how that team's constructed.
You love Drew Brees and the.
I like the defense, man. Marcus Williams the beast, despite that play.
Oh my god,
despite that play, he's a rookie. Despite that play, he had an amazing season.
What was worse, Marcus Williams' missed tackle in the NFC Championship, or Raheem Moore, safety for the Broncos, that misplayed the Joe Flacco rainbow shot to Jacoby Jones in the Broncos-Ravens game? Which is worse? Which safety play was worse?
Asante Samuel in the Super Bowl not catching the interception against the Giants is the worst.
Wowzers, you really went for it.
That is the worst.
I'm asking about these two. Feel fuck. Never mind. I don't want to play anymore.
I mean, you got to say the Marcus Williams play.
I don't know which. They're both really terrible. But the ball was in the. Yeah, Marcus Williams, because all you had to do was make a tackle. That shit's easy. AFC. Let's go. Let's start from easiest to let's
start easiest to hardest. So AFC East.
I don't want to go AFC East because I know where you're going to go and what you're going to try and. We're both going to pick the Patriots.
I have no agenda.
What questions? Let's just do it now. We already were talking about it earlier offline, so let's just do it. Patriots are going to win the division.
Yes.
No other team from the division is going to get the wild card.
No.
Please ask me whatever questions you want about the Bills.
I have no questions.
Go ahead, say what you want to say. Just say it.
I don't care about your team.
But I know you like to say things that get me upset. You can. I know you were saying things earlier offline, and now that we're actually officially doing the episode, you don't want to.
What do I have to say?
Okay. So nothing. You got
A
nothing.
lot of media outlets,
I'm like, okay.
multiple media outlets have said you might be the worst team. Now, I don't think you're going to be the worst team. I actually think that title will belong to like the Bucks or the Raiders, but it's kind of I think it sets itself up that the Bills, Dolphins, and Jets will all have top 8 picks, most likely.
Didn't everybody also think that we were going to be god awful last year? I'm not saying like, and granted, like I know we got into the playoffs. I'm not saying that means we were like one of the best 6 teams, but everybody thought we were going to be trash last year and that we were purposely tanking. And we made the playoffs and finished 9-7.
Yeah,
So I don't think we're going to be like 3-13 like everybody is predicting we are. I also know not to be okay. I'm not saying the Bills are great. I'm not saying we're making the playoffs. I'm not giving any prediction for them right now. But no one in the national media and no regular.
What's your top amount of wins you would say that the Bills could have? Like 8,
9 or 10.
9 or 10.
Yes, because that includes basically what that means. We beat the Jets twice.
You have to sweep the Dolphins and the Jets and split with the Pats.
That's 4. No,
that to happen.
No. We don't split with the Pats. We beat the Jets twice. We beat the Dolphins twice. That's 4. We beat the Titans. That's 5. We beat the Ravens. That's 6. We beat the Texans. That's 7. We beat the Bears. That's 8. And then you're looking in one of the Chargers game, the Jags game, all these different other ones that get thrown into the mix, and if you can pull out 9 or 7 or 9 or
that is bold.
I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but we could be
not.
We play the Colts. I don't think we play the Lions. I don't think it's unrealistic as people think for us to get to 9 wins.
And your starting quarterback for these 9 wins is.
Ooh, I don't. Despite the 5 interception game, and see, this is also part of my larger point. All the people love to throw out like the Nathan Peterman, like, "Oh, you had 5 picks, ha ha ha," this and that.
It's not a great start.
No, it's not.
It's very like meme worthy.
Let's call a spade. Nobody watches the Bills. Nobody watched that game. You don't know that it was a miscommunication between him and receiver that led to 1 pick. That he threw a spot-on ball to his fullback for the first interception that hit his fullback in the face, who Patrick DeMarco just made a bad play, that he got hit from behind and the ball popped in the air for another pick. Like, you don't know. So it's like all 5 picks, but it's not. You didn't watch the game. You don't really know how they came about. And nobody watches the Bills. So it's more just like, LOL, Bills, ha ha ha, like they suck from the national media and from people who watch football. I get it. Like, unless you're a Bills fan or
it doesn't come off as great.
No, or unless you have like Sunday Ticket and you have LaShawn McCoy and you want to watch it for fantasy perspective, no one's watching the Bills. Nobody cares about us. We're an afterthought. So no one's analysis of us is going to be accurate. I'm not taking it. But Peterman's going to start. I think Peterman's more of a sacrificial lamb for the first opening part. Like we open up at Baltimore. They're going to be pissed and they're really good. I just hope no one gets murdered. Then we're home against the Chargers. Then we're at the Vikings. And then we're at the Packers. Those are a very tough opening 4. I think at best we're coming out of that 2-2, but we could very easily be 1-3 or 0-4. So I think you throw Peterman out there. He makes reads quickly, gets the ball out of his hand, probably doesn't get murdered behind our line or by any of the defenses we face early on. And then depending on what happens, you throw Allen in there as the schedule starts to open up and ease up a little bit.
All right. Well,
realistically, I think we could be anywhere. We're anywhere from 6 and 10 to 10-6 is our range.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, Patriots, right?
Yeah, Patriots.
Okay. I didn't even need to talk about the Jets because I don't have.
What are the Jets going to be? You got to mention your favorite team. What are the Jets going to be? What's their record range? Like I did. So I did 6 and 10 to 10-6 for the Bills. What is your range?
I don't know, like 3 wins to 7 wins.
Really?
Yeah, man. I mean, I would have said for the Bills 5 wins is like what I think you guys are going to get. And
what's our max wins that you're thinking we're going to get?
Um,
that was such a that was such a like
6.
you were just like, oh, don't ask me that, Anthony. You were just really
I mean 6. Just
Okay.
because I think you'll end up. I mean,
Who finishes in the bottom?
it's just murky because
Ye-
it's.
Who finishes second, third, and fourth in the AFC East, in your opinion?
Ooh, it's gonna be very close. It might be like one game separating everybody. Obviously, I want to say Jets, Bills, Dolphins.
So we're in agreement that the Dolphins suck.
Oh God, they're very bad. But I mean, so are the rest of us. I mean, so
That's
it
true.
it was. I mean, they're all. I mean, for them, it's worse because it's like. For us, it's like, well, at least we have this, potential. Like we have see
potential.
we see hope or whatever. Like
When you say we, you mean us and you?
yeah.
Oh yeah, the Dolphins don't have that. It's like,
But
hey,
like
is Ryan
they have
Tannehill okay?
no, they have like Tannehill coming back, and he wasn't horrible. It's just people forget about him because he missed the whole season,
Right.
And then they had the whole Cutler thing. So
And they tried to get Rose in, but didn't.
it's just yeah. So, but he could come back and be viable. It's just like now, okay, you lost Landry. Maybe that puts like some brighter spotlights on Drake or some.
I was gonna say Kenny Stills and Devontae Parker are not bad.
No, I love Stills actually. I think he's gonna eat up the volume of Landry, and like Stills is one of my most favorite. Like I'm gonna have him on my like fantasy board.
And
like
Miami has your boy Minka Fitzpatrick. You love the Alabama secondary players.
Obviously, because they've all turned
them.
out and done very well.
You think they always do great?
The best one is like Clinton Dix, and is he even like great? Like
he's an above average NFL
He's
safety.
a starter, but like, what was the pedigree coming out? It's like
you think that for all? Yeah, but he wasn't touted as like
not all of Alabama,
changer.
just their secondary.
He wasn't touted as a game changer. Clinton or Minka Fitzpatrick is touted as a game changer.
I mean, Clinton Dix won the top 15, I believe. If he went like 15 or 16th, something like that. And
yes, because I remember the
9th?
Ravens. The Ravens could have had like when they picked it was like, oh, Mosley or Clinton Dix, and they took Mosley.
Good for them.
Has been awesome.
I mean, I'd rather have an Alabama, I guess, if I had to really choose, defensive end and linebacker rather than anybody in the secondary.
What defensive players from Alabama have been good now that I'm thinking about it from the juggernaut that has been the last 5 to 7 years? C.J. Mosley is the best.
Clinton Dix went to the Packers.
Darius,
dude, I can't. Dude, seriously, I cannot think.
That's what I'm saying. But that's the point. Like you can name, okay, like the Ed Reed Miami Hurricanes teams. You can name like the studs from that team.
Yeah, but they were kind of. But were they not kind of like a stars and scrubs kind of
Miami
setup? I mean, not at one point. At one point, they just got everyone. But
Miami.
Yeah,
that like 2001 Miami team is like the greatest college football team ever.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you're going back further. You're talking about the Ken Dorsey teams?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm
comparing like juggernauts and juggernauts. Like if you think about those Miami teams, like, oh, these are the dudes that turned out to be great in the NFL. Like I'm thinking of Alabama. Like they've ran college football for, I don't know, easily the last 5 years. 5, 6, 7 years, but like the studs from the team overall, who's the best player that came? Oh, probably.
Like, are we saying
like the
defense or
overall? Period. It's what Julio, C.J. Mosley, Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, and then like some good offensive linemen. Like Darius. They haven't had. No, what has Darius done?
I mean, he's pretty good. We
traded him for like a fucking 5th round pick.
Well, that's because you're the Bills.
Come on.
Hightower has to be in there, bro. Like,
oh, okay, Dante Hightower.
Yeah, Reuben Foster. Like, they're pretty good in like at least that.
Yeah,
but
Foster hasn't proven anything except that he knows how to beat up girls.
Mark Barron, but he's kind of in a weird spot because he was a safety.
I thought he was going to be sick. I loved Mark Barron, and I think he's sweet as that hybrid, but he definitely was not worth the.
I don't know. It's just not. It's not what. That's with anything. They have a running back every year. Not to say like none of them panned out. I mean, Ingram has found a role, even though he's not the player that people thought when he was drafted. Henry definitely still is growing and could grow into
He's
that.
going to be sweet this year.
But every single year they've had the touted running back, for a while. And it's, I don't know, it's the program, not necessarily the players. I mean,
True, I agree.
Julio was a player that Alabama like never got. He was like a different type of player.
And he
like,
would have gone anywhere and been a stud.
He could have gone anywhere. He was like Calvin Johnson. He could have been in Georgia where they like did the triple option and been.
Oh yeah, Georgia Tech where they threw it like twice a game.
Yeah, like and still been a stud. He was a different caliber of player, so it's kind of hard,
So Alex's favorite player, Minka Fitzpatrick, and the Dolphins finished the last in the AFC East. AFC East sucks except for the Patriots.
It sucks. It's not worth talking about.
All right, let's go to the let's save our feistier things for the
That's
for
fine.
the
That's
end.
fine. So go to the West then.
Let's go to the West. You got the Chargers still?
Yeah, I like the Chargers. I mean, I guess people are on what, the Chiefs?
I like Denver.
Yeah, I guess that's like a sneaky thing too. So okay, justifying the Chargers. I just think
being the Chargers.
Unassuming, slow and steady, still have Rivers. Of course, just signed Gates back. Keenan Allen if he doesn't get injured. I like Mike Williams as like kind of a sleeper pick this year. Their defense is a lot better. I mean, it's just as good as it was last year. So like it's a very good defense.
True.
And you're just hoping that I guess Rivers and Keenan Allen and Melvin Gordon just hold up over the course of a season. And if they do, I think they win this division just by being present on the field.
Does anybody from that division
just
get a wild card?
Special. It's not special. No.
Okay. I think Denver wins the division. I think Case Keenum is more than serviceable. I think Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders can still get it done. I think Royce Freeman is a sweet running back and is going to do well there.
You're Royce Freeman, love.
Love him. I like my dad went to Arizona State, so I have like a soft spot for Pac-12 stuff. And
Great.
I like ducks as an animal, so I thought Oregon was cool. Royce Freeman's sweet. He went to Oregon.
How's he liking that Herm Edwards?
You know what's funny is we both joke around about like how he says some things that like I'm like, are you on peyote? Like Herm Edwards just does not make sense. But I think in college football he can work, and they actually have a receiver this year who could be like a top 20 pick in the draft. I don't think they're good enough. I don't think Arizona State's good enough to like roll with, the top in the Pac-12 as of now. But I honestly think like 3 years from now, Arizona State could be like a top 15 regular thing. So there's hope there. But Royce Freeman, I like him from Oregon. I think he does well with Denver. And defense, like we talked about it in the draft episode, like they should not have gotten Chubb. And now they got Chubb and Von Miller on the edges. They still have a good secondary. I know the whole.
I just think the secondary's worse.
Roby and Chris Harris are still good. Are still good enough to get it done. Like those two, their outside corners combined with the defensive ends are still good enough to get that job done.
I guess we'll see. It's hard for me because I'm like, when I think of the Broncos recently, I think of that team, that really like pressuring team.
But they might have that a little bit now. Like you just need it. Von Miller can get it done a little on his own. They just needed another guy. Nick Chubb was the best player in the draft, arguably, and it was between him and one. It was either between him and Barkley for the overall best player in this draft. Yeah. And they got him, put him with Von Miller. Not to mention, I think of the little things like it's a bitch to go play in Denver because of the altitude difference. If you tell me that
they all come on division wise, they're all. If
you tell me that San Diego wins, I'm sorry, the LA Chargers. I'm always
Thank
gonna
you.
call them San Diego. Sorry, my faux pas there.
So old.
If get with the times, man. If the Chargers win, I wouldn't be completely shocked, but I think it's between the Broncos and the Chargers for that division, and I think
Well, you didn't even talk about a former Herm Edwards team.
The Chiefs?
The Chiefs.
No, I don't get
People love it.
I don't
Mahomes fever.
I don't get the Patrick Mahomes love. I think he's got a really big arm and he makes some cool things happen. Tyreek Hill is really fast and great at committing crimes against women. And Kareem Hunt is sweet. Andy Reid's a good coordinator.
Kelsey?
Yeah, but I don't have a ton of faith in their defense right now. And I don't have a ton of faith in Mahomes. They gave a bunch of money to Sammy.
They got rid of Peters, which might be addition by subtraction.
Or subtraction by subtraction.
Headaches-wise.
Right, but who's playing corner for them now? They already didn't have a great secondary. Now they take away Peters. Eric Berry has heel problems and is, up and down with his health, although he's awesome when healthy. They got rid of Derek Johnson. They're running, Reggie Ragland in the middle. You're hoping the defensive line, goes back and does its thing. Ragland, former Bill. They threw a bunch of money at Sammy Watkins, who I'm not convinced is worth it. And I know they have some pieces on offense. I just don't. I don't know. Are they better than the Chargers to me overall? No. Are they better than the Broncos overall? No.
Well, people are definitely on them. They're
because Mahomes is the sexy pick. It's look at he can throw the ball 75
it's not without merit because Andy Reid quarterbacks offensively they always just do well.
As opposed to the quarterbacks defensively.
Correct. It's just
I don't get where the Mahomes loves.
It's just a scheme
comes from. You and I, we weren't doing the podcast then, but we were talking about last year's draft extensively, and it was the quarterbacks, they're kind of good, but nothing.
I didn't like any of them except for. I could say except for Watson, but that's only because I saw him
a ton,
the most.
And I thought Mahomes was cool.
Alabama.
True. So he had the most visibility to him, and I saw a decent amount of Mahomes tape, not actually watching the tape, but seeing live games. But I thought he was a second or third round dude. The Chiefs traded their first to us the next year so they can move up and get him. And then everybody's oh, what a great pick. He has a great arm. He was a second round, third round prospect at best. Played in, and to use your things that you love to knock the Big 12 about, played in an air raid, wide open offense at Texas Tech, and nobody plays fucking defense in the Big 12. So I get it, he's got a good arm and he's cool to watch, but the Big 12 defense sucks. And I don't get the narrative of he goes to Kansas City. So he was from the time he was drafted, I just don't understand the narrative. He was a third round grade.
I think it's just the Andy Reidness of it.
Maybe
people just
he could
what
be great.
he can do.
I think he has an awesome
quarterbacks.
Arm. That arm, the throw that he made against Atlanta in the preseason was sweet as hell. I think it was awesome, and some of the reads he made against the Bears were really cool. But I'm not ready to the Chiefs are the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. Are they better than the Broncos and the Chargers? To me, no. Are they to you? Even with the Andy Reidness of it all?
Oh, I don't like the Chiefs. No. I'm not. No Big 10, no Big 12 quarterbacks. No,
you are heavily against the Big 12.
No Oklahoma State quarterbacks. No Oklahoma quarterbacks. Sorry. No, none of those guys.
You said sorry the head of BP in the South Park episodes with the oil spill. We're sorry.
Well, I didn't know if there's some Sam Bradford guys out there, some Landry Jones guys.
I think Bradford could have broken the mold if he hadn't gotten hurt so much. I don't think he was a product. I think he's a good quarterback. He just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, it's definitely. It's hard for him, but I don't know. I just don't like those quarterbacks.
Okay, so then if the Chargers are winning, no, I agree. I think the Big 12. That's my same kind of thought with the Pac-12. They don't play defense in the Pac-12. They don't play defense in the friggin' Big 12. Actually, the Big 10 plays D, and so does the SEC. They just don't. They don't play D in the Big 12. I'm with you on that 100%.
I'm just going to have to see it. I'm just going to have to see it.
Yeah, you got to show and prove for me. And so Chargers win the division for you. Do the Broncos get a wild card?
No.
Oh, okay. Copy that. Let's move on to. We'll save our most contentious thing for the end.
That's fine. North.
So the North. Steelers for you still?
Steelers.
Okay. Ravens. Do they get a wild card?
Steelers, and I don't think they have that first few game kind of. I mean, they usually do, but I just don't think they start out as bad as they did last year when people were asking if Ben was going to retire the next week.
Bell still hasn't reported to camp, and there's all these rumors that like Connor's going to start, and the team is disappointed.
Me no care.
Is Bell going to play in this like week 1?
Yeah, he's going to play.
Okay.
Just because the amount, like, you end up like maybe getting it back or whatever, but the fines and the missing game stuff, like that really adds up.
But
like,
even if he comes in, like I think he's gonna show up. But like
or
last
you think he's
year,
just bust a hammy right away.
I mean, last year they didn't even really ease him in too much. But like his first 2 games, 3 games, he wasn't like full Le'Veon Bell. Like I think in week 1 he had like 17 or 20 touches for like 55 total yards against the Browns.
I just don't think it matters because you said like week 4 or 5 last year, they were asking, is Big Ben going to retire? Like the next game, basically, yes. Like, is this it for you? And then they went to, in my estimation, they should have won the AFC Championship game. So
the Steelers?
Yeah, they're just a couple.
How?
Like, because I just don't like.
They have no defense.
No, but do you not think they were definitely in? Sorry, not the championship game. They definitely got blown up by the Jags. Sorry, I'm thinking of that Patriots game, and they should have won that game.
I actually don't know if I think that was a catch or not. I think I would have gone with whatever the call was on the field. Yeah,
it was a catch to me. It was a catch.
They should have won that game.
Like in the Super Bowl, did Ertz not have a very
that was a touchdown,
if not the same play?
No, because he crossed the goal line with the ball fully in his possession.
I just think he crossed the goal line. I think it's just an eye test. To me, those things are catches. I can't believe we're in this
position now where we're like, what's a catch? Still,
no, it doesn't. No, that's not the case anymore. That would be ruled a catch this year.
This is true, which has got to be so terrible to hear.
So it's fine.
That's like the Tuck rule again. How ironic that it's another fucking Patriots benefiting thing.
Oh.
Like the Tuck rule happens, and then that offseason,
the Cowboys should have won that game.
True, but but they didn't come out and say, "Oh, this was a catch." Like the Tuck rule one. That offseason, they were like, yeah, it was a fumble. We messed up. We're changing
they said that now with the Dez play.
Right, they're saying it now. But that offseason, after the Patriots won the Super Bowl the first time, it was like, we screwed up. And then this year, this offseason, the first thing they did was like, oh, yeah, that James catch was a touchdown. The Steelers should have won. Like, I would be like, well, that doesn't help me now.
Their baseline now was like, oh, yeah, the Dez Bryant. That was like their post board. The Dez, like, it's like the Dez rule, basically.
Well, especially when, I mean, a receiver of Dez's caliber, like, easily top 3 in the league. You love him. I know you have multiple Dez jerseys. Oh, you know what's funny? Yeah. He's a Oklahoma State guy. More Big 12 offense that you are not a fan of.
Gotta love him.
Yeah, I think the Steelers win the division. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens won the division. I think the Ravens are a sneaky. They missed the playoffs by 1 game. Had a bunch of injuries last year. They have upgraded their offense significantly. Their offensive line, when healthy, is one of the best in the league. Marshall Yanda is back. He's one of the best linemen in the NFL. Their defense was I think they led the league in picks last year, and did very well fantasy-wise. I think they're under the radar as a whole as well. They've upgraded in a lot of ways, and they have a lot of pieces, good coaching. They're going to do that whole like favorable schedule thing because they finished second. I think the Ravens could be a sneaky team to go to the AFC Championship. I also wouldn't be shocked if they won the division. But I definitely think there's some combo there of
friend.
The Steelers and Ravens are both coming out for the playoffs.
I believe that, but as I said in the first thing, I only believe that if Lamar Jackson is the quarterback of the Ravens.
Are you sticking to the Lamar Jackson takes over and leads them to the playoffs?
Joe,
still sticking to it?
Did we not see this last year? That like Joe Flacco was just like atrocious.
He was hurt, and the offensive weapons were hurt, and they had their line was hurt.
Stand by that guy,
dude. Their line was hurt. He was hurt, and their receivers were hurt.
I don't care.
They all were hurt.
Dude, that does...
And the defense was hurt. You cannot put that season on Flacco.
Oh, I put that season on fire. He was horrible.
He's got
He
arguably
was so bad.
Oh no!
And that contract is so
So
bad.
a rookie Lamar Jackson
That's the only way they're going to the playoffs.
You're sticking to the Lamar Jackson takes over midway or whatever and leads them to the playoffs.
I mean, it's not going to happen, but I said that's the way they get to the playoffs.
So the Ravens aren't making the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think they're making the playoffs unless Lamar takes over.
Okay, so then but then who are your so then three teams are coming out of the AFC South?
Yeah.
3?
Yeah.
The Colts?
No.
Jags, Texans? Titans? You're giving the Titans the playoff spot?
Yeah.
Wowzers.
We didn't talk about it yet, but
Are you ready to go to the AFC South?
Well, okay, the Browns are going to be improved. Let's just put this out there.
I think the Browns defense might be pretty decent.
Dude, they could be sneaky. 6-game sneaky. I mean, it's Hugh, so I can't really fathom them winning like a large amount of games since he has only won one game in whatever it is, 40 games or whatever it is. But I mean, I just think the Steelers kind of just ho-hum can win this division. You know, like they're almost ho-hum every year. They show up for big games.
Well, Bell,
and
Brown,
they almost play down to their competition. It seems like that's how like the Steelers roll.
Actually, yeah. I mean, it's super simple. Like Antonio Brown is so good that it doesn't matter. Le'Veon Bell is so good that it doesn't matter. Get a couple sacks or a turnover, and it's hard to beat him because like. Who's covering Antonio Brown? Like, who's stopping Le'Veon Bell?
It's just, bitch. I know, and Juju as well. And you just know, you just know Ben is going to make like the right play. It's like that Brady Breeze kind of thing. You just know, like, they're going to go down and probably score a touchdown right now. Like, how often does that happen? Like all the time.
You're like, oh shit, they need a touchdown. Yeah, he's going to get it.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, the Browns. You always see like it's like whatever 3 o'clock here on the East Coast at least, and it's like Brown or Bengals Steelers really close, and it's like, come on, man. We
know who's going to.
We know the ending to the story.
Speaking of the Bengals, I think they actually might not be terrible this year. I could see the Bengals being a sneaky pick for a playoff spot.
They are a garbage fire in my mind for as long as they have the Dalton.
I don't think Andy Dalton is that bad.
He's bad. He's bad. He's not the guy.
He's good enough to get your team to the playoffs.
Not anymore.
Andy Dalton is good enough to get your team to the playoffs, especially when you're throwing to AJ Green.
Yeah, but it's not going to be like that. I don't believe in John Ross.
Very fast.
On offense, I think it's really Mixon really has to take a leap, which I think he can because I believe they're going to try and focus the offense around him.
Well, we know he can leap his fist into women's faces.
Well,
another Oklahoma guy. God, you are cutting out today.
And I drafted him last year as like, okay, if they really want to get around him, since they have, they had Bernard and him and
Jeremy Hill.
Who was the third guy?
Jeremy Hill.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and they got rid of Hill. So now it's just Bernard and Mixon, and obviously Bernard is kind of a change of pace thing.
Yeah, but Mixon can do what Bernard does, except he's bigger and kind of faster.
No, but he's their like full workhorse 3 guy, and
very much.
So I think they're they're putting all in on him, and it's like so you're mixing. Okay, so you're mixing an AJ Green, but you have Dalton. I can't do it. They're not going to be good.
But Andy Dalton's not terrible.
He's terrible. The Red Rocket's not doing anything for you.
He's good enough to get you the playoffs. He's done it before.
TCU. So
yeah, but he's good enough. TCU's produced some talent.
They have, but no, he's not the guy. That's not the droid you're looking for, man.
What'd you say?
He's not the droid you're looking for.
That's very funny. Well played. That's what I thought you said. Now I was like, well, yeah, I don't think he's great, but I think he's good enough to get your team in the playoffs. I'm not calling it, but I think they could be better than people think. Their offensive line was a dumpster fire last year. It should be better this year. They've revamped some things.
Somebody has to be bad.
This is true. All right, let's.
Fine, man. Go ahead. Jag City.
Jags are winning. Jags are winning the division, and I really don't want them to.
No
even
wild
more
cards,
so.
Right? This division.
Because
you're on this Ravens.
Because the Ravens, Broncos,
Chargers.
Yeah, Ravens, Chargers get the wild cards. I do not. I would love to be wrong. I hate the shit out of Jalen Ramsey. I hate him. He's such an asshole. I want the Jags to not be good.
I thought that's what makes him great.
He's a fucking idiot. I just think that they're the Jags, man. Jags take the South. You're still sticking with the Texans take the South?
Yep.
Ugh. I didn't think it would bother me as much still. Really? Like, hands down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the Jags and Titans get wild cards?
Yeah.
Who finishes second, the Jags or the Titans?
Jags. I think, okay, so here's the thing. The Titans is like a very sexy pick too. So I'm not like thinking, I'm not, Socrates over here. It's just like people are like, okay, the pieces are in place because now you got Malarkey and that horrible hybrid offense he tried to run that ended up being the most vanilla offense of all time.
But now we don't know what Mike Vrabel's going to do as coach.
No, that's fine because that's not what Vrabel's there as a Jason Garrett, just like everyone does their part and I'm just that coach, like Tomlin or somebody of that nature.
As long as they feed Derrick Henry in my fantasy team, I'm cool with it.
The main aspect is, I wish I knew his name. I don't know his name offhand, but the Rams offensive coordinator who is bringing the Shanahan-McVay system into this Titans team that has Mariota that ran a sped up offense like that at Oregon. So now it's like, oh, well, these things meld together better than an H-back I formation that they were running.
And they have a very good offensive line, and Derrick Henry is sweet.
I like Derrick Henry a lot, and they got Deion Lewis, so they can definitely change the pace there. People are,
I like Corey Davis.
Yeah, people. I mean,
and then another
took him fifth.
Another team with your boy Delaney Walker.
Delaney Walker is the man.
Fantasy ride or die for Alex.
That's right. So people are just like, okay, fine. This now, okay, you do more motion. It's just gonna open things up a lot more. And they're one of these kind of sexy teams that are like, okay, they made the playoffs last year in that vanilla offense. So what can they do now?
They were one of the final 4 AFC teams
with this. What can they do with this team? So yeah, I don't think I'm going off the edge saying I think the Titans are going to make the playoffs. You're mad because I'm saying the Texans are going to win the division. Which
I'm not mad. I just don't see.
You're a little butthurt about it.
A second. So, first of all, I'm definitely not butthurt. I just don't see how Watson coming back completely changes everything. I don't know if I'm ready to believe that he's like the Michael Jordan of the NFL, as Dabo Swinney.
He doesn't have to be. I just think it's a combination of Watson, now a little bit, knows the offense a little bit better. Obviously, he came in. He was like a house on fire. He's not going to replicate that. I get that. He's not going to score crazy
amount. He's also got another.
But he's going to be very good.
But the same reason that you're like, oh, well, the Rams might not kill it because you got a year to scheme against McVay's thing. People have a ton of stuff.
There's nothing to scheme against Bill O'Brien.
But no, I'm talking about Watson. You can scheme against him. And who is Deshaun Watson throwing to other than Hopkins and Will Fuller twice a game?
Dude, first of all, what else do you need?
What else do you need? Is Will Fuller a high-end number 2 receiver in the NFL?
If Watson stays healthy, yes, because because he's basically Deshaun Jackson. And wasn't Deshaun Jackson during that spout where he was like feast or famine Deshaun Jackson? Wasn't he almost like a high end 2, middle end 2? So he sort of is. It's like boom or bust.
There was more weapons on those Eagles teams though.
I'm not going to take
Jackson could be that.
I'm not going to take him, but just because I don't like the risk. But he definitely has crazy upside that he could blow the roof off the top of the defense. So my thing is it's the combination of things. It's Watson coming back. There's not a ton of tape on Watson as much as there is on McVay in that system. Also, Watson is more dynamic than Jared Goff.
True, but that offense has less weapons.
Hopkins.
Okay.
Has a claim to be in the conversation for the best receiver in the league.
No, he's not close to Antonio Brown.
Because who has, I guess, him and AJ Green, who can do Like Hopkins is still viable when like Tom Savage was your quarterback. Like seriously, like if you look at
He
like
had
his
a down. He had a real,
if you
real down year
if
like
you
2 years
look at his
ago.
numbers though, like look at the quarterbacks he has had and
True, they've
like
been
his
bad.
production.
But he had a
Like
really terrible fantasy year 2 years ago. I had him.
if you put him with a good quarterback, I just think what's really like his limit. Like Antonio Brown is amazing, yes, but he's had Ben the whole time, who's been like super consistent, and like despite him, he's won Super Bowls. He's a very like he's a great quarterback like all time. So I just think if you give Hopkins a solid quarterback who's consistent because they've been changing quarterbacks so much, I could that's only going to help him out. That is only one half that I really like the offense and just Watson coming back in. The real thing for me is just having,
Watt and Clowney.
just having Watt back for a whole season. Hopefully, I know he's whatever fragile or whatever, seeming like a little bit more injury prone now. But when he's on the field, he's obviously crazy dominant. You have Clowney now. Just aged. And then Merciless, which I like because I think he was banged up a little bit last year. And I just think the combination of those guys, I don't know, it's strong. I don't think is that defense as good as the Jags? Probably not, but I think the offense could be more dynamic than the Jags offense. And I mean, we'll see on the field because they're going to face each other twice. So we'll see how it goes. I just think, and back to my point, they'll be facing worse teams, right? So, and your point in the last episode was, how does a team that's 4-12 go to winning the division? And I just think it happens. It does happen. Like good team, like every year, half the teams that didn't make the playoffs make the playoffs. I mean, there's always surprises. There's the Chiefs last year. Nobody thought they'd beat the Patriots and then go on like a run where they'd make the playoffs. So I just believe in the Texans this year. I think if their pieces stay healthy, I think what they're bringing back, their dynamic pieces that they're bringing back, I think they can win the division.
I just think they don't have enough.
You just like the Jags.
No, I hate the Jags. I fucking hate them.
No, you like the Jags. You like what they're bringing.
Oh, talent-wise, yeah, I hope they crash and burn miserably, but they have a very good running back. They have a good offensive line. I don't think Bortles is trash as everybody thinks he is. I don't think he's like good.
He's trash.
But he's good enough to get the job done. And yeah, I think their defense is very good at all levels. They're fast. They can stop the run. They can shut down the pass. They're fast. They're physical. In today's NFL, like, you need speed and coverage ability, and they have that in spades. Like, their linebackers are faster than most safeties.
Is, though, if Ramsey gets injured the whole season, like in a Watt situation, they don't have Colvin anymore. That's who left, correct?
Correct.
So they would just have, who's their second guy? Sorry, he's very good.
AJ Boye.
That's right, Boye. So, like, I just feel like they're like one kind of. I just think.
Yeah, but that's the same thing. But that's the same thing for your Texans then, because Watt went down and the whole defense fell apart.
Yeah, and I just think they are kind of. I think they need all their pieces there. But I think they're a very shaky ship.
Like, look at, even if Ramsey goes down, I don't even know if the secondary is.
I think if Ramsey goes down, they would not be like viable on the back end.
Dude, Miles Jack and Telvin Smith at linebacker, Calais Campbell, Malik Jackson, Ngakoue up front, and Fowler, who didn't even really get to play and hasn't come into his own yet. Like, they're still.
Who the Jets are going after, actually? Oh,
Ngakoue?
No, Fowler.
Oh yeah, I saw you guys made an offer for him.
Yeah.
I just think they have. You either win with. In defense, you either win with, like, scheme or straight rush 4, but our 4 is awesome. We still got to scheme a little, or great coverage. They have great coverage. They have pass rush in spades. So even if the coverage slips a little bit, I think that they're good enough to kind of counteract for that. They're running that Seattle model. Like, I know Jalen Ramsey is very good, but you're just asking a dude to play cover 3 and cover his spot. Like, they can still scheme for that a little bit. And the linebackers that they have underneath, Telvin Smith and Miles Jack cover so much ground. And then, not to mention, they're going to ball control on offense. Fournette is sweet. and their receivers are kind of good enough to get it done one-on-one.
No.
And they have a good line.
What receivers do they have?
Keenan Cole isn't bad. Moncrief isn't bad.
But they lost Lee, correct?
Right.
I mean, that was their number one guy. Like Marquise Lee is your number one guy, and you lost him.
I think Moncrief and Keenan Cole are good enough to get it done when you have the line that they have and you have Leonard Fournette combined with the defense. Like their biggest thing last year on defense, I can't believe we've been talking about the fucking Jags so much over the span of these months, but like their biggest thing last year was when they like checked out mentally or turned themselves off a little bit, and which is going to happen when you're young and your team has a bunch of assholes on it, which the Jags does. I just think like their defense is really good.
It's not as good okay. I don't think it's as good as people put it out there because I've seen teams. I've either seen like a lot of lapses from them, and maybe it's not like a talent thing. It's just showing up every play. I've seen a lot of lapses from them.
Agreed. I just said that.
And so it doesn't look great because you obviously let up like a ton of points, and it's not like we just let them go from like the 20 to the 20 and then start playing. No, they let teams like score on them, and
agreed. They got housed by the Niners late in the year,
and I cannot trust Blake Bortles. Like I said it before, there's no universe I would live in that I would think Blake Bortles.
But I think you're too down on him. Like I'm not high on him. I don't think he's great, and I don't think he's worth the contract he got. But you would rather take Mark Sanchez over Bortles, and I would never do that. Like that's too low. Like I'm not saying he's a top 15 quarterback or even a top 20 quarterback. I think with the team that he's on.
No, I just think they're very similar in that
Bortles is better than Sanchez. He can do more than Sanchez. He's not as like destructive as Sanchez.
Well, it looks shitty now because of how Sanchez's career has gone. But I want to say like in the moment in 2009, I just think they're very like similar. You're almost you're just trying not to make a mistake. You're trying to get the ball out of their hands as quick as possible so they don't make a mistake.
But Bortles has had, and I know it was garbage time, but Bortles has had games and parts of seasons where he's thrown for like 400 yards and 300 yards and like 4 touchdowns and this and that. Sanchez has never done that anywhere ever.
Granted, but also I want to say that from 2009 and 2010 till now, it's almost like an entirely different league, how offenses are and like how it's all predicated around like spread offense.
Yeah, but the Jags don't run a spread.
No, but I mean, you have to air it out. Like, who doesn't get 300 yards a game now? Like, 300 yards a game
Tyrod fucking Taylor
is like a minimum. Almost, you know what I'm saying? But like in reality, like every quarterback, like Tom Brady just had 500 yards in the Super Bowl, did he not? Like,
yes, he did.
It's like it's wild, like the amount of yards. It's almost not worth. It's not worth bringing it up because it's comparing like even 5 years ago is hard to compare. It's like.
True. It's easier
when you say Steve Young had a 300-yard game, you're like, whoa, holy shit. Because like that was impressive. Now 300 yards is just like somebody that like, Nathan Peterman could do.
It's easy. Okay, first of all, suck a dick. It's definitely easier to be a quarterback, I think, in today's NFL with like
the read. Yeah.
With the way the rules are set and the offenses that are run. I think a lot of it stems from the rules. I mean, you can't touch a receiver before the ball's in the air. You can't really hit him once he gets the ball. You can't send a message. You can't hit anybody. You can't really do a lot of physical stuff.
You have to be very specific in what you do. You have to. I think if you're going to be a great corner, quote unquote, whatever. Although Sherman was a little different because he never came off of that side. But I think it's to be great or whatever. You have to be like man-to-man press coverage, bigger. Great. I mean, just like anything, great hips, swivel out, back in, great, like just like speed as far as catch-up speed, because you almost just have to pretend there's a bubble around them and just constantly like be there. So you need to a different skill set than maybe you can't be
Yes,
big.
you have to be so precise in everything you do on defense, whether you're hitting or covering or whatever, because the rules are so skewed against
but
you.
you could still get away, I think, with a lot of hand play and a lot of jersey on the back.
Well, that's what I was
really
going to say with those Seahawks teams. One of the philosophies of the Seahawk defenses that were good was that they were going to hold and commit pass interference on every play because they said the ref wasn't going to call it every single time.
They're not going to call it.
Right.
They're not
so
call it every
I don't
time.
think Richard Sherman's like a great example for like a good cover corner because they would just mug the shit out of everybody and then they would eventually like.
I know he's a good corner, but at the same time, he never left the side.
No, you can only
because of what they played, and he's a product.
But that's that.
Obviously,
defense.
I'm going to stick up for Revis, but I think he's a product of that secondary and that defense as a whole. He is a great player, but it isn't like he was like, "Hey, I'm taking Calvin Johnson on. I'm taking." Julio on.
Yeah, he was more like, well, if you come over here on the left side of the field, I'm going to lock you down. But if you go on the other side, I'm not.
Exactly. And I don't think that is
come over here.
Like, in your brain when you're thinking back, like, oh, Dion or somebody, like, you're like, hey, I'm the best player, like, on this defense, and I'm going to shut down your best guy. Like,
yeah, like wherever you
he's
go.
He's not that guy. So it's different. It's different. He's great, but he's not that guy. All right, so you don't think they're going to make the playoffs? Is that what you're saying about these Texans debate?
No, Texans are not
making the playoffs.
They're
making the playoffs because they're winning the goddamn AFC South.
I don't see it. I mean, I honestly really hope they do. I fucking hate the Jags. I hope they crash and burn so hard.
Not apparently, since you love them so much.
There we go. And I'm so butthurt about the Texans. Blah, 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 blah.
All right. Well, let's do your AFC Championship and winner here.
Patriots.
Whoa.
Shocking. Oh my God. Patriots.
Doesn't matter. Oh.
Ravens.
Oh my God. Oh God. Oh my God. Oh Lord. So gross.
No, not. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say Patriots. Patriots Broncos or Patriots Chargers.
No, you already said Ravens.
No, I wasn't saying it seriously.
It sounded pretty serious. No. I think you secretly. I think you think that's what the matchup is.
Secretly. No, I'm gonna say Patriots Broncos or Patriots Chargers.
Okay, I could see Patriots Chargers happening.
Yeah. If the Broncos defense hits like I think they'll hit, I say Patriots Broncos. If I'm wrong, I'll say Chargers. And then I'm going with the Pats going to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I think it's Pats Saints.
Yeah, I don't really think it matters because I just think the Pats are going to go to the Super Bowl. So
who's going to the AFC Championship? You got to pick.
I think it's going to be. Who do you think?
Pats Steelers?
No.
Pats Texans?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
I just think they're good.
Okay.
That is my second though, like Steelers. So I think the kind of Steelers are due. They kind of, I don't know, they kind of slept in the Jags. I think they'll
Texans finished with what? Texans finished with what record? You said 12-4 or something like that back in
Yeah, and we went through it.
So that's what they are. They're 12-4?
Yeah.
You're sticking with it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could see 11.
This episode brought to you by Peyote.
That's brought to you by Bill O'Brien.
Yeah. And now a message from our sponsor, Bill O'Brien in Reliant Stadium in Houston.
That's right.
Well, I could see that. No, I don't know. I think the jury is still out for me for the Texans. I think Deshaun Watson makes some exciting stuff. I don't know. This NFL season is going to be interesting. I feel like a lot of things are too. I feel like with the NFL season, we're looking at it the same way we kind of did the World Cup a little bit, which we said before the World Cup started, which was like everything is too straightforward and it can't be that way. Something's going to happen. I feel like something is going to happen. Like
yes, I mean something happens every year, right?
Like the Lions are going to be like 13-3, or something's going to happen.
No, I mean something's going to happen, right? It could be the Ravens. It could be your Flacco resurgence. It could be something like that. People would be surprised by that, I think. So
I just don't think he's like Flacco. Well, he's way better than Bortles, but Flacco to me is another like I don't think he's as great as the contract that he got would indicate. But I don't think he's as bad as everybody tries to make him out to be and make him seem to be. I mean, even if it was only one time and it was a flash in the pan, his Super Bowl run was ridiculously tremendous in those playoffs, and he's performed very well in some big games and some clutch moments. I just don't think is he going to be like one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league? No. Is he garbage and terrible like people like to make him out to be? I definitely do not think so.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. And if you agree with us or if you disagree with us, hit us up on Instagram at AA Talk Stuff, Twitter, Facebook as well. Email us. If you have any thoughts or any episode ideas, definitely hit us up. I'll respond to you almost immediately. And I hope you enjoyed watching. Like, gonna have to redo this one.
No, keep it. Go ahead.
Hope you enjoyed listening, and see you next week.